Hello and welcome back to our demonstration of Edumate, our modern learning and productivity application built using Kotlin, Jetpack Compose, Firebase Authentication, RoomDB, and Data Store, all structured under an MWVM architecture. As soon as the app launches, the very first thing we see is the allow notification permission pop-up, and this appears instantly because we integrated Firebase Cloud Messaging together with Android Post Notifications permission. Behind the scenes, this uses a small section of code in our main activity that checks for notification permissions using activity compact.request permissions and a messaging service class that registers the device to receive FCM tokens. This allows Edumate to send real-time reminders, sync alerts, and learning prompts, and it only triggers once the user accepts or declines. After granting or dismissing the notification request, we're greeted by a custom splash screen designed entirely with Jetpack Compose. The splash uses composable animations, Material 3 styling, and a timed launch effect to create that smooth transition. The logic here is simple but clean. We used a coroutine delay combined with navigation state to move into the next screen after a few seconds. This gives Edumate a polished App Store ready feel. Once we click Get Started on the splash screen, we arrive at the login screen, where the user can sign in using Google Single Sign-On, also known as SSO. This feature is powered by Firebase Authentication and the Google Sign-In client, which is configured using Auth 2.0 Client ID. The login composable remains UI only, while the actual authentication happens inside the Auth view model and helper classes. These take the Google ID token, convert it into Firebase credentials, and store the authenticated user session. By keeping the UI completely separate from the logic, we maintain clean architecture and make the login process smooth, secure, and reliable. From here, once authentication succeeds, users are taken into the full Edumate experience. Once we successfully sign in, Edumate automatically redirects us to the task screen, and this is the core productivity hub of the app. Right at the top, we see the bold tasks heading, and below that is our intelligent progress bar system that will only appear after we add a task. At this moment, because we have no tasks, the screen displays a clean positive message that says all clear, and right underneath it, you're gonna see you're all caught up. This empty state is intentional. It is designed using conditional composables in Jetpack Compose, meaning that the app checks the RoomDB task list through our task view model, and when the list is empty, we show this calm, welcoming UI instead of a full task layout. To add a task, we simply tap the floating plus button in the bottom corner. This navigates us to the Create Task screen, where we enter our title, description, due date, and priority. This screen uses a controlled form built with multiple compose states. When we press create, the task is passed to our task repository, which writes it directly into the Room database. Because the task view model is observing the database through a continuous flow, the UI updates. Once a new task appears, the progress bar immediately comes to life, and it shows the total amount of tasks, how many are completed, and it animates the progress visually. We built this using a custom composable that calculates the percentage from the view model task state, and every time we mark a task as done, we trigger a Room update, and because Compose is reactive, the bar updates in real time. Underneath the progress bar is the search bar, which allows users to instantly filter tasks, and we've implemented this using a text state combined with filtered query inside our view model. As we type, the displayed list updates dynamically with no manual refresh needed. This keeps the task screen clean, fast, and extremely easy to navigate. Next, we move into the flashcard section, which is EduMate's study companion. Right away, we're greeted by a grid of neat, colorful study decks. Each deck represents a subject or topic, and the design uses a combination of Material 3 elevated cards and lazy grid layouts. Here we're shown one question at a time, displayed on a sleek card. When we tap the card, it flips around using a compose animation to reveal the answer. This creates an experience very similar to real flashcards, but more interactive. Here you'll see two buttons which are guarded, and again, these allow us to track which questions we understand and which ones we want to repeat. Each time one of these buttons is pressed, the flashcards view model updates the card status and sends the change to Room DB. The study deck progress updates immediately thanks to reactive state flows. At the top of the screen, we have three useful tabs. They're called All, In Progress, and Completed. These tabs act like filters, controlled directly through the view model, and use list filtering logic inside of Kotlin. As we study and filter, the card automatically moves between these categories. The search bar inside flashcards helps us find cards within a large deck. It takes string matching inside the view model, and because compose recomposes automatically, search results appear instantly. You can also add your own cards by pressing the plus button on the bottom right corner. Here you can input a question and the answer, and the repository writes them into the database. The deck updates the moment the new card is saved. Moving into the settings screen, this is where users can make EduMate feel truly personal. The settings layout is a large scrollable column with categories divided into appearance, notifications, tasks, flashcards, data and privacy, as well as language. All settings are stored using data store, which means every toggle, switch, and preference is saved permanently and update instantly. In appearance, we can switch between light mode, dark mode, or system default. This is handled using a state value stored in data store, which our theme provider reads in real time. Next is notifications. Here we can enable or disable app notifications and set daily reminder times. This connects directly to our Firebase cloud messaging setup and our local alarm scheduling. Then we have task settings, where we can sort tasks, show or hide completed tasks, or enable delete confirmations. This preference directly changes how the task view model presents. For flashcard settings, we can choose between sequential study mode, shuffle mode, or spaced repetition mode. We also have toggles for sound effects and haptic feedback. These values modify how the flashcard logic behaves inside the flashcard view model. Data and privacy handles all the user level permissions like sync over mobile data, backup on Wi-Fi only, biometric unlock, anonymous analytics, crash reporting, and these settings interact with small utility classes that handle networking, permissions, and platform callbacks. And last, for one of the most impressive features here is language selection. The EduMate app supports English, Afrikaans, isiZulu, and isiXhosa. When we choose a language, the app asks us to authenticate with a fingerprint. We implemented this using Biometric Prompt API. Once confirmed, the entire UI instantly updates to the new language because all text runs through a centralized string provider. And then finally, at the bottom of settings, we have the logout button. And when we tap logout, Firebase signs out the user, data store clears biometric flags, and we return to the login screen. But because we use Firebase authentication catching, the next time we sign in, the process is almost instant.